So we asked everybody to send in their questions, and we got a pretty unique hypothetical question about if we couldn't ride horses for whatever reason, and we had to let somebody else ride our horses for 30 days, what would we tell them to do or not to do? So, I mean, that's a great question because, you know, it just depends what stage the horse is at. If they're, you know, just getting started on cattle, I'm gonna say do a lot of tracking. Make sure they're going to the cow and rating the cow, which is first and foremost. The box work, I'm gonna say hang on. We'll just hold off on that for about 30 days probably. But, you know, there's just a lot of positive reinforcing that you can do depending on what stage they are. And like, I know Miles, I'm gonna ask him when it comes to this, but until I talked to him on these issues about starting colts, I had no idea. You know, I was one of those guys that says, man, this horse is doing good for 45 days, watch this. And Miles, I think y'all be interested to know how long he waits before he even stops a horse two-handed. So.
Yeah, for me, the biggest problem with starting colts is people getting in too big of a hurry. And I don't think it's a training issue. I think it's like a client issue. People want to see how much a trainer
bang for their buck.
Yeah, people want to see how far somebody can get their horse in 30 days, like, and brag about it. I'll send him to so-and-so in 30 days. He had him dragging his butt and turning around. And I don't mean to say it in a bad way, but about anybody can cowboy one around enough to get them stopping and turning around, but that don't mean that you did it right and didn't skip steps. If I was gonna send a colt to somebody, I would tell them what they normally do in 30 days. I don't mind paying them to do it in 60 days, because if you pull around on them right and get them following their nose, get them soft, get them putting their feet where you want them to, not just putting their feet where they end up because they're scared trying to go somewhere. That's the stuff that makes a difference on the colts. And I don't start any for anybody anymore other than just our personal horses. And people would croak if they knew how long it took me, because I spend 30 days just saddling them and tying them up. And every night before I put them up, I pick their feet up, I step up in the stirrup, I throw the lead rope over their back, just desensitizing them. And by the time I go to swing a leg over them, they're so comfortable with me and what I'm doing that I don't have any blow-ups, you know. And then the first 30 days, I ride them, I pull around on them one-handed, and I'm, like he said, for 30, I won't start stopping them two-handed until I'm in between 30 and 60 rides. And before I do, I'll make sure that if I'm sitting dead still and I can just use my two ring fingers on my reins, and if I lift up, they give me their face and will willingly take a few steps backwards and be soft about it until I can draw them backwards and then be soft and pull them around one-handed back over their hocks. There's no sense in me trying to lope them and stop them.
Do you do other groundwork besides just saddling them and tying them, picking their feet up? What I know I've seen you out there with your halters and stuff. So.
Yeah, I'll have a lead rope that's pretty long, and I'll run it down, say the right side of a horse, and I'll walk around to the left side, and I'll just pull it down their back leg and teach them to give to that pressure, get off the pressure of the lead rope being on their back leg, and follow their nose around. And then when they face me, and I just pet them, and then I'll drive them around. I'll have two reins and just walk behind them, and I can stop them and back them up and turn them and do all that stuff long before I ever get in the saddle. So really, if you do that stuff properly, you don't have to wait as long as I do to actually start turning them around and stopping them. But most people want to cowboy them around and sneak up on their back and see what they can get done. And the biggest mistake in horse training, like I said, is getting in too big of a hurry. And when it comes to colts, most of that comes from pressure from the clients. And they would really get a lot better product if they said, hey, work on just keeping them quiet and keeping them soft. I'm not in a big hurry on it, you know.